them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career.
Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that,
let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him.
Roy Jones Jr. believes Canelo Alvarez won't last against Terence Crawford, pointing to a loss of sharpness and energy that Canelo once had. He voiced disappointment with Canelo's current form, questioning why he looks faded at this point in his career. On the other hand, Jones praised Crawford's focus, determination, and elite skill set. He stressed that weight difference won't decide the fight because Crawford's timing, technique, and ring IQ can cancel out any size advantage. According to Jones, facing someone as relentless and skilled as Crawford will reveal Canelo's limitations, making this matchup more dangerous than many expect.
All be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch. And what I'm seeing is I see a hungry Crawford, a Crawford that has been looking for the opportunity for a long time, finally getting the opportunity, and really ready to grab the opportunity. And with Canelo, I see a guy who not necessarily hungry, but loves to entertain, loves to give us the big fights. Always tries to give the big fights. He finds a way to give us big fights. Not going to always win them, but he always tries to give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career. I don't know. It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
Jones also warned that if Canelo enters the ring too confident, assuming victory over Crawford is guaranteed, he risks being humbled. Jones said underestimating Crawford's strategy and skills could lead Canelo to a harsh defeat that may prove costly inside the ring.
It's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove the world that he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo comes to the dance.
Olympian Omari Jones voiced strong belief that Terence Crawford will beat Canelo Alvarez. He noted that Crawford's weight gain for this fight isn't the usual reckless approach fighters take when moving up. Instead, Crawford has prepared carefully with discipline, diet, and conditioning to maintain speed and agility while adding size. Omari explained that this precise method makes Crawford's move up in weight a win-win situation, giving him strength without losing the qualities that make him dangerous.
And me personally meeting Crawford several times, it's like the man is just so competitive. It's like I don't even have to say nothing to him. He'll just like, man, when we sparring, it's like his competitiveness is always gonna put him over the edge, and then he just has that like, I'm not gonna let you bully me, or his skill set. And it, I know they talk about Charlo when Charlo moved up, but I feel like it may be a little bit different for Canelo this time around because Crawford took the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that, it's a win-win.
So you don't think Crawford, gaining that weight, because I saw him, he's pretty big. You don't think that's going to be a disadvantage for him in this fight?
No, it looked like he put it on the right way.
Jones added that even though the physical challenge of fighting a bigger opponent is real, Crawford's skill, discipline, and commitment will help him adapt. He stressed that Crawford isn't just adding weight but building his body to carry it effectively while keeping his sharpness intact. For Jones, this fight highlights a disciplined athlete pushing limits and proving he can rise to the occasion against one of boxing's toughest champions.
The way you know, the nutrition, the you know, like I said, the training. You know, Crawford, he trains hard, so I feel like, I know they say he probably went up to like 185, so he has to lose that weight. But I think if he did it the right way, which I know he did, he'll be successful in September.
And I know, like we discussed earlier, you know, we talked with your pro debut, and now you're 3-0. Your last fight, July 19th against Blanco, and it was actually your third win by knockout.
Yes.
Super proud of you. How are you feeling about your pro career so far?
I'm feeling great about my pro career. I definitely feel like it's off to a great start. My pro debut in my hometown, and then I was my second fight, Atlantic City, on the Boots card, and then my third fight on the Ben Rodriguez undercard. So Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, they're putting me on these cards, shining light on me, giving me the TV time.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi highlighted Crawford's transformation, especially his size for this bout. Malignaggi noted Crawford looks much bigger, but instead of seeing it as a weakness, he sees it as a big advantage. He explained that Crawford has added mass without losing the speed, footwork, and timing that define his style. He pointed out that most fighters lose sharpness when moving up, becoming slower and less mobile.
Listen, let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. You know, Roy Jones Jr. You know, put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him. Good old Manny Pacquiao did the same thing, you know. So you know, there's times where it affects, and there's times where, you know, I guess if you put it on the right way. Only Crawford knows it because the way he's training, right? Because you're going to be sparring with this added weight. You're going to be doing the boxing training with this added weight. So you're going to know how to, you know, maybe taper it down if you need to, or keep it going if you need to. You know, I think over the course of camp, if you start to feel too yoked up and, you know, you get big, and then, you know, you're sacrificing reflexes, you're sacrificing athleticism, I think you're going to feel.
Crawford, however, seems to have found the right balance, gaining strength and durability to face a naturally bigger fighter like Canelo while keeping his mobility to execute his game plan. Malignaggi credited Crawford's professionalism and attention to training details, saying the weight gain complements his skills. In his view, Crawford could even benefit from the added power, helping him deal with Canelo's pressure effectively.
Heavyweight kind of weight. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, Roy Jones is Roy Jones, but also Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. But John Ruiz is not Canelo Alvarez. So that's another aspect of that comparison. And yes, you know, exactly what the champ said, exactly what Abel Sanchez said, you know, you're going to put on weight, you're going to be a different fighter. And I can say this even as a fighter as myself, but as I've gotten heavier in my retirement, I try and move around the gym, it just feels different. And even when you start camp, you feel different in the beginning than you do at the end. But listen, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away. I don't know exactly what Terence is weighing right now. And even if he does say what he weighs, man, he's gone out there and said he's weighed, you know, all types of crazy numbers just to get media to respond. So it's really not really going to know until the fight and we see these guys next to each other. He might look bigger right now, but he might not beat.
Boxing analyst Max Kellerman gave a technical breakdown of the matchup. He highlighted Crawford's jab, calling it one of the most precise and effective weapons in boxing today. Fast and well-timed, it controls the pace of fights. While Canelo once had a sharp jab, Kellerman noted it has declined in recent years. This, he argued, gives Crawford a clear edge in range control and scoring. Beyond the jab, Kellerman praised Crawford's tactical intelligence, saying he makes adjustments in real time and exploits openings others miss.
Attribute. First attribute, best jab.
Crawford.
Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring.
He contrasted that with Canelo's reliance on size, strength, and power, which has often helped him dominate smaller fighters. Kellerman explained that if Crawford can block Canelo's forward pressure and force a tactical battle, the fight will favor Crawford. He believes this mix of technical skill and ring IQ is one of Crawford's biggest advantages heading into the clash.
Early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Mm-hmm. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton.
Popular analyst Showbiz the Adult gave a fair take on the fight. He credited Canelo's strength and intense training camps, which keep him sharp at the elite level. He noted Canelo's ability to absorb punches, apply pressure, and land crisp counters makes him dangerous to anyone. At the same time, he praised Crawford's wrestling background, which gives him a rare ability to read opponents, counter effectively, and adapt under pressure.
Canelo uses his legs, he uses his core, and then his neck itself to lift up Bivol like Bivol was a featherweight. That is a huge representation of how strong Canelo is. When you look at his workouts, you can tell why he was able to do that. All these damn neck exercises that I wouldn't dare do. Okay, that stuff looks painful. The squatting and all that stuff that he's doing is exactly why Canelo Alvarez, honestly, is a strong fighter. He tried to do it again with William Skull. William Skull shook out of it, but he is a bull. Listen, Terence.
One clear theme across boxing is that Crawford's strategy will define this fight. Experts agree this isn't just another match but a career-defining moment for him. A win over Canelo would silence doubts and elevate his legacy. To succeed, Crawford must be precise, patient, and adaptable, while avoiding reckless exchanges where Canelo's power is most dangerous. Analysts say Crawford must control range, use angles, and wear Canelo down gradually. The outcome, they argue, will depend as much on mental sharpness as physical skills, with victory likely going to the fighter who stays disciplined across 12 rounds.
Understands that he has to be smart. And I think with this one specifically, it ain't just about being smart. He knows he has to look like he's never looked before, because again, if he doesn't and he beats Canelo, everybody's just gonna say, well, that's Crawford, so I think he knows that this is the performance of a lifetime and everything has to look right. He knows in order for it to look right, he can't just go out there and let the dog go. The dog is, you gotta work his way up to the dog. Hey, show the clip real quick. I don't know if you showed it already, but this is the dog you talking about right here, right? And so I pulled this clip right here. I seen it on social media this morning.
Don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
And I pulled this clip, right? But this is Terence.
That's who he is.
He's not gonna swing on Canelo. He already know that part of the game. But what I asked you, were you ever trying to send a message to your opponents? He's letting you know, and it's no act. And that's what I really wanted to show, is that's not an act.
No.
That's not, there's 30 security guards.
I don't know, it feels a little contrived.
You think so?
I think a lot of people feel it's a little like.
Well, I'm glad you used a big word that most of us don't know.
Hey, I don't fight as good as you guys. I had to learn some big words, right, to make up for that.
Don't look it up. Just ignore.
You need big words to get out of fights. You need big words to get out of fights. But okay. So case in point, our guy Hafey sitting right there, producer extraordinaire. he had a picture of Terence Crawford in New York for the Crawford-Spence press conference. And there was this look, when Terence, he gave this look to Spence that reminded me of like Dwight Muhammad Qawi.
Super middleweight Edgar Berlanga also gave his opinion, urging Crawford to stick with the style that brought him success instead of over-adjusting for size. He admitted moving up 2 weight classes is tough, but noted it can also level things out. He argued Crawford's skill, IQ, and adaptability matter more than trying to match Canelo's physicality. He stressed Crawford should focus on discipline, composure, and clean execution. Berlanga said no matter the result, Crawford has already shown a champion's mindset by taking such a dangerous fight, proving he belongs among the greats.
First of all, he got to go in there and he just got to fight him. You know what I'm saying? He got to go in there. I think Crawford just got to go in there and do what he got to do. You know what I'm saying? He got to just be Crawford, you know, show his IQ, show him why he's a 2-time undisputed, you know, world champion, and go in there with confidence. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. You know, there's a big weight difference, a big weight jump. You know, that could be a difference in the fight. You know, because obviously, you know, it's like me jumping up to heavyweight. Obviously, I'm a feel the power. I'm a feel that size difference. You know, compared to my other fights. So I just think that he got to go in there and just be himself. And I said, if he loses, you know, we'll just all know that, hey, you know, he just jumped up 2 weight classes to be great. You know what I'm saying? It's not. He can't really. He's testing himself. He's putting himself. Testing himself a great fighter. So, and I don't doubt him. You know, I don't got no doubt in my mind. You know, he's a 2-time undisputed world champion for a reason. So, you know, and I don't think none's gonna phase him in that fight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the power, maybe the size. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Canelo, he's not knocking Canelo out. So, he just got to go in there just IQ.
Would you lean towards Canelo still in that fight?
I got faith in him. I think Crawford could do it. You know what I'm saying? I think he could do it. Just like I said, just the size. The only shit that throws the fight off is the size and, you know, obviously the power. And Canelo's IQ too, because Canelo got IQ, you know what I'm saying? And Canelo fought a much bigger guys, you know? So I know the Crawford's power ain't gonna phase him. I know Crawford's size ain't gonna phase him either, you know what I'm saying? So, but for me, I think it's a 50-50 fight.
Trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas kept it simple but powerful. He said Crawford is special, with a rare mix of physical tools, technical ability, and mental toughness. Atlas emphasized greatness isn't just about talent, but about performing when the stakes are highest. He pointed out that Crawford has shown this quality repeatedly in his career. For Atlas, this fight against Canelo is another stage where Crawford can prove his greatness in front of the world.
He's a little overrated. Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it, you know, but...
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next.